Good morning, everybody. My name is Katie O'Rourke, and I'm the Communications Lead at Aontas, the National Adult Learning Organisation in Ireland. So this morning I'm going to give you a very short presentation on the festival that we've developed in Ireland. I'm delighted to be here today with my colleague Dermot Lawless, who is the EU Projects Officer and runs our European Agenda for Adult Learning project, Increasing Pathways, Increasing Participation. And we're also delighted to have brought two adult learners with us today, Louise Finnegan and Maria O'Reilly, who are both part of our festival this year. So really, I'm going to keep this really short and really think about some of the learnings from our festival that might be useful to communicate to you today. I just wanted to give a bit of an overview because I think we've had lots of European colleagues come to our Adult Learners Festival over the last couple of years. We ran our 13th festival from the 4th to the 8th of March this year. So really in terms of even having other European colleagues and looking at what Ireland is doing really well and what different takeaways we can take from other countries, our communications outcomes from 2018 last year, in Ireland we reached, through our communications work, 6.5 million people, and that was through media, website, social media. So that's a huge number if you look at the population of Ireland, which is around 4.8 million as of last year. So really a big part of our festival looks at raising awareness on a national level. We're a membership organisation, so we've over 400 members around Ireland, so many of our members and other stakeholders take part in the festival. But I guess a big key part of the work that we do during our Adult Learners Festival is promoting the value and the benefits of adult learning and really providing that national platform to highlight the work. And we also provide lots of communications tools to support our members. So that's just a little bit of an overview for you just in terms of some of the national coverage. And I know later on we can maybe discuss with colleagues how we have been so successful in terms of getting that national media. But learner voice, I would say, is absolutely central to how we have done that. And obviously it's a huge benefit for members. We also get a lot of local, regional coverage. But yes, the national media is the one that really kind of, shouts out. And we've had front page of a main national newspaper in terms of promoting the value and the benefits of adult learning. So that's just some of the media clips throughout the year. And that one there was a front page of a national media article. So really it was about getting the voice out. Last year we really focused on highlighting the value of adult learning on a national level to the general public. That was kind of a key aim of what we were doing. The growth of our online platforms has been a huge part of the festival, but also of our communications work. We spoke about it at our discussion session there earlier. Social media engagement has really increased significantly for us last year and through the festival this year. And even through the festival, we use our One Step Up website to host all of the events, but we really use our social media platforms to really push those events and I guess to reach the most hard to reach learners. That's been a big part of it. So that's another just overview. I just wanted to give a bit of context. Aontas is 50 years this year, something that we're really, really proud of. And what we're looking at this year and through our festival was highlighting the wider benefits of adult learning. That's a huge part of our work, it always will be, and it's definitely linked into the European Agenda for Adult Learning project. We're also really passionate about the vital role that community education can play in achieving educational equality, and that's something that we focused on as well. And all of these key messages really feed into our festival. And most importantly, the importance of learner voice and highlighting that work has been a huge part. And we always, throughout all of the festival events, have a really kind of key learner voice element to it. So this is just an overview of some of our communications activities for this year, but you can see our festival is one of the main parts of that, and we ran that from the 4th to the 8th of March. Aontas hosts 2 national events during that week. The Star Award ceremony, so we run our own award ceremony, which I'll give a bit of background to. And then we close the event with a policy day, and that really provides us with a platform, to talk about our key messages and what we want moving forward. So I think one of the challenges with festivals, and we've heard this from learners and other stakeholders, is balancing the celebration, because it's an absolute fantastic celebration, with some of the issues maybe that our country is facing. And I think that's something we really need to think about. We can be out there saying how great everything is, but what are the issues facing our members, our stakeholders, our learners? And we use that policy day to really look at those issues. So we did an International Women's Day policy event this year, and both Louise and Maria spoke at that event. So just a short overview just of our festival. So it's a nationwide celebration of adult learning that Aontas coordinates. And over the past 13 years, this has really become a firm fixture on the calendars of our stakeholders all around the country. And we really believe that adults should have access to quality learning throughout their lives, and that's why we run this festival, to really look at that. The festival is an integral part of our communication strategy, and it's the main activity that we do every year. And adult learners being central to that is really a key part. So just in terms of some of the benefits for event organisers, and this is what we promote to encourage people to get involved, but it's very much about highlighting their organisation's commitment to adult learning. But I guess over the last few years, it's really looked at providing a platform for local organisations to throw open their doors to adult learners during that week and to invite them in for taster sessions, information courses. Really in Ireland, our key aim is to increase lifelong learning participation. It's not where we would like it to be, and this week really provides a platform for that, and it's very much linked into the European Agenda for Adult Learning on that. It's about building new partnerships and strengthening existing ones, and really looking at developing new areas of work for organisers. So just to give another little overview, I think something that's really important in Ireland is that regional festivals have also developed during these 13 years, and they're very much linked into the learning cities. So Cork, Belfast and Limerick all have festivals running in April, and traditionally we weren't necessarily linked in with those festivals. And now we're making a big effort to do that, because those festivals are very successful in their own right, but they're very much focused on a large number of events, whereas what Aontas can bring and what we've been meeting with stakeholders is what we can really do is support them through the communications work that we've built up over the last 13 years. So that's a new area of our work that we've been really focusing on. So our theme of our festival this year was Every Day I'm Learning, and really the idea was to, promote the range of adult learning programs and lifelong learning programs happening in Ireland. So we had our hashtag, and we very much looked at promoting, like I said, celebrating adult learning and the achievements of adult learners through our Star Awards. It's about promoting the work of further adult and community ed and showcasing that work, but also ensuring that adult learners are at the centre of policy, and I mentioned that as well in terms of our day. So our festival focus in 2019 really looked at, I've mentioned the theme there, but how do we support stakeholders and members to take part? So we had a great brainstorm meeting with all our staff and looked at feedback over the last couple of years as well. And really stakeholders were looking at sustainable resources. So we provide an event in a bag for stakeholders, but they were saying we need sustainable resources that we can use throughout the year. So in 2019, that was a key focus. A lot of our promotional material had the festival in much smaller font and was very much about creating resources that they could use throughout the year. We were looking at increasing local festival events because, in all honesty, in Ireland it is a challenge every year to increase the number of events. Because we're a national organisation, we do go out as much as possible, but there's other members and stakeholders, and those regional festivals tend to be more successful in terms of the number of events. So I think really for us we're looking at what are we doing really well, what is the unique selling point of our festival, and how can we really support those members, and that national communications piece is a big part of that. So for the first year ever, we used our One Step Up website as our host website, and that was really important because that already has huge traction throughout the year. We run information campaigns through the European Agenda for Adult Learning project. So we used to host our events on a different website, and we would only use it for that one time of the year, which didn't make a lot of sense in terms of resources. So it was hugely successful using One Step Up this year. We could see a massive increase in the traffic during that time, and also it's helping us to promote that. So, and I'd actually got the idea from Stephen Evans in the UK, who came over last year to our festival, and he was talking about using a host website. And it got us thinking, what resources do we already have and how can we use them rather than creating something new? So that's something I'd also get people to think about. We twinned with the Belfast Festival this year, and we have really good collaboration now with Cork and Limerick. And that's something that's in early development, but something that we're definitely going to continue on because we're all striving towards the same aim. So it's really important that we look at what else is happening within our country and how we can really, build on those connections. So our two key events, we had the Star Award ceremony and the International Women's Policy Day events. I've already mentioned them a little bit. Just in terms of the Star Award nomination process, for us, the Star Awards is a key element of our Adult Learners Festival. We have met with many other colleagues from Europe where they've talked about their awards celebrating individual adult learners, but in Ireland, our awards celebrate programmes and projects. And Louise was part of the One Family project, and that was a Star Award winner this year. So our four categories were social inclusion, health and well-being, third level access and engagement, and sustainable employment. So we really look at using categories that we feel will feed back into the work of Aontas and that we can use throughout the year as case studies, that we can highlight examples of best practice, whether that's in Ireland and also with our European colleagues. So every year we do look at the categories and think about what's really important in Ireland at the moment and what kind of areas do we really want to focus on. So I think it's important to kind of keep that freshened up. And then we had many representative groups, mostly from community and voluntary groups that had entered into the Star Awards. The reason being that it's seen in Ireland now as a huge recognition to win an award, and many community groups who win, their funding is at risk, and they really apply for these awards so that they can stand over and say, we have won a national award, and it's really important that we keep this project going. So we had the Star Award ceremony. We had a motivational speaker, Gillian Quinn, who's an adult learner. We had sponsored prizes for the first year ever, so we had different stakeholders who gave us money that we can now give to those winners as well, so that was really important. For the first year as well, we did videos of all of the Star Award shortlisted groups. So some of the feedback last year was that we didn't have enough learner voice in that ceremony. There was a lot of stakeholders talking about the importance of adult learning, but people were saying we want to hear more from the learners. So every single project that was shortlisted, we videoed and then showed at the event, and it was hugely powerful. We now have all of those videos on our YouTube channel, so I can send people a link around to that. But it was really, really powerful looking at communicating the range of different projects that were involved in the Star Awards. We did all of the filming over 3 days at the judging panels because groups come and meet with judging panels. So it didn't take us an awful lot of time to do. And just as an example, when we were watching the video, Louise, you really stood out in terms of sharing your experience. And then we were able to identify Louise to come and speak at another event. That came directly, Louise, you probably don't know that, but that came directly from that video. So it was really, really great that we can now have a range of videos of learners talking about the importance of the project to them. In terms of the International Women's Day policy event, that's a lot of text there, but just to give a flavour of that event, it was very much about bringing community education providers together. We were really looking at a specific focus on the impact of community education on the lives of women. And we had a learner panel to open that event, and Louise and Maria were both involved in that. And we had lots of policymakers in the room, and I think something that we've become really well known for in Ireland is bringing learners together with policymakers to share their experience. So that was an absolutely fantastic event, and what we were looking at moving forward is a national framework for community education, a national strategy, because at the moment the funding is across many different departments and it kind of falls through the cracks, and we know how important community education is. So this for us was the focus of our policy event on the Friday. And it's really, really important to think about your festivals and how, yes, we can use it as a celebration, but also what are the issues facing the country and how can we move them forward in a really constructive way as well. So that was a fantastic event, and Learner Voice was definitely at the heart of that. And we had our colleagues Veronique and Michelle who had also presented and came for the festival, which was really fantastic. I think I would encourage countries to bring other European colleagues to those festivals or invite them so that they can also share their experience, because I think that is really powerful as well. So I know I'm probably running out of time, so I'm just going to give it a quick overview and I can chat to anybody after if there's specific questions. But yes, we created sustainable resources for stakeholders. We used the One Step Up website. We also had incentives for groups, so it can be challenging to get buy-in from new members and stakeholders to run events. Everybody is so busy. So we had an early bird competition where we had special prizes like a videographer, photography, and we did a draw for those that had entered in their events early. So that really worked well for us. And it's about looking at using your funding and the resources in a clever way. Okay, I'm getting the flag now, so I'm going to finish up. That's just an example of some of our promotional material. These are some examples of how we spread the key message, so networking meetings, press releases, media pitching, advertising campaigns, social media. These are some of our sharing platforms. And this is how you can stay up to date with Aontas. So I'm happy to talk to people at the break, but that's just an overview of what we're doing in Ireland. Thank you very much.